Okay, guys, welcome to the Dropouts podcast. Here we invite ambitious, curious dropouts, rebel, outsider, underdogs. We discuss their journey to find themselves, to build, create, to grow. So today we welcome Austin from Austin Scholar. I met her on Twitter following her writing about education, how to help people and especially kids learn in new way. I found her content very interesting and a lot of wisdom into your writings, into your newsletters. So welcome, Austin. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing very well. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well too. I'm very happy to get you here. And maybe for people who don't know you, who don't follow you on Twitter, maybe you can introduce yourself like in a few minutes just to have the context.
So hello, everyone. My name is Austin Scholar. I am a 17-year-old high school senior in Austin, Texas. And I haven't had a teacher since the 4th grade. I have gone to an alternative school where we learn exclusively through online adaptive educational, and through these apps their software allows them to be very personalized, very adaptive, so all students are actually able to learn all of their academic content in just 2 hours every day. And since you save all of that time in the afternoon, it frees up all of this time for you to learn life skills and build and work towards incredible. And so the school I go to is called Alpha, and we have, we call ourselves a startup school because, we're very new, just, starting to grow and build up. So we're very new, and we are basically just working to spread the message of, 2-hour learning and help students learn life skills and build their masterpiece projects.
Your 4th grade, it's around like 10, 11 years old, right?
Yes, okay. Around there.
So it's pretty like early. I've been talking with a lot of people who were experimenting new way of learning, some high school dropouts, but I think you are the one who experimenting things the more earlier. I think at this age, you necessarily need like the support of your parents to get you like chase a new way of learning. How did you manage and how did it went with your family, with your friends to explain this like desire to experiment new way of learning and educating yourself?
So I think my parents really just found that I wasn't being challenged in the traditional school system. It's all completely standardized. So the teacher is kind of forced to teach to the mean, even though there are students who are really far ahead or who are really struggling. The lack of personalization in the classroom was really kind of hindering my learning and my growth, as well as my sisters. And so our parents told us to, try out a new school, see how it is, and we flourished there. And so I'm super, super lucky that, we were able to make that transition so early on, but, it definitely worked out for us.
Okay. And so at what age did you start understanding that there could be other way of learning and that education wasn't like this fixed and standardized things that we took when we were young?
So I've actually been doing Dreambox, which is a online learning app, since I was in kindergarten. So I've always kind of known that, there was a way for kids to learn and move forward in the content on their own. Since I was like 7 or 8, my dad would give Elle and I like small rewards, like extra TV time or extra dessert, if we would do our 20 minutes of Dreambox a day. And we've really been using this adaptive learning model since we were very, very young. And so I've always known that there has been another way of learning and educating, but it's really in 4th grade when I went to Alpha where I started to see it change.
Okay, very interesting. I just got out of a call with someone who told me that he thinks that school have like one goal, which is educating people, but one other secret goal, unrevealed goal, which is like make at some point parents comfortable to go work and to like contribute to the society during like the children are like in a safe place, And so at this point, parents will not necessarily challenge the education of their child, how it works and how your kids are stimulated. And when you're kids, you don't necessarily challenge yourself because you're starting to understand how life is going. And if you see like education in just one opinion and one way of educating people, you will not think there's other opportunity. So what do you think about it?
Primarily, a lot of the standardization comes from the fact that the teacher in front of a classroom model just isn't adaptive, period. You can't give personalized lessons to every student in a classroom. That is pretty much impossible, and it is completely unfair to ask of a teacher because schools have been using this teacher in front of a classroom model for so long, and it's what school is known as at this point. We can never really, schools themselves can never advance past the standardization.
Very true. And like it's true that if, for example, you ask AI model who are trained with a lot of data, etc., like to show us what looks like education in school, one of the first things they will draw and they will share is like a classroom. But at some point, we never challenge this idea of like school is not like one teacher and 30 students. And so I completely get your point. What was like your childhood looks like in the traditional school? You were like the shy kids, the popular kids, the shiny kids. What was your childhood like before like moving on,
Total shy kid. I have been super introverted. And so, my entire life. And so it's been, on the first day of kindergarten, I think I said one word, total. I just let the teacher know I was there. Total shy kid, worked in a corner. The teacher would set, my math teacher in fourth grade or in third grade would sit me with the other, the math boys. We would compete against each other to see who could get a higher math test. So I don't know if that picture kind of shows you who I was in traditional school, but total shy, trying to get the best grades.
And do you think it changed with your new way of learning and educating?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing I guess there's two parts. There's the life skills and there's the academics parts. So for the academics, it really is that hard to compete with people when you're all at a completely different level. The environment at Alpha in academics, I found, has been a lot more supportive. We're all working to help each other. And I've been able to move as fast or, if I'm struggling, as slow as I need to. So in math and in reading, I'm done with all those classes for my senior year. Science, probably not my strong suit. Physics, struggling a little bit. So I can ask, my other classmates who are, in my year for help on physics questions because they've already done it because I'm performing in that area. Everyone's kind of on their own path, and it's really for effort and, trying to put in the work is what's competitive, but it's not the actual content itself. On the life skills side, so, the shy kid thing, one thing about Alpha is that some of the life skills that we learn are related to public speaking and other talking in front of people, but even if it's just classmates. So I've done a ton of workshops on that and kind of built up my public speaking skills and worked to strengthen my weakness. And that was kind of
Okay, what I didn't like on high school was the idea of, okay, I like this subject and I want to learn about it, but the subject I like and it's something I can do with pleasure, But it's group with multiple subjects, and at some point, if there's things that I don't like, I have to learn them and I have to force myself during few years to go on it. Do you think it's something that we should do when we are young, force ourselves to learn on something that maybe don't interest us? Or do you think at some point after trying, it's like chasing things that is maybe useless or you will not put the right energy, so it will not deserve you,
Yeah, so I think something about K through 8 Common Core stuff. Personally, I don't see that anything in K through 8 is completely useless to know. It's basic geography facts, it's math up to arithmetic, arithmetic equations, and it's basic reading comprehension, spelling, photosynthesis, how do plants work. I don't see any downside to a kid learning all of the Common Core K through 8. The kids who do learn it, they probably end up with a better understanding of the world. That's K through 8. In my opinion, I think it's valuable to know. When you get up to high school, not every person needs to learn calculus. For some kids, that's something they're excited for. But additionally, if there are kids who want the credibility and want to, go to a traditional high school, they're going to have to do all of the content, and they're going to have to do all of the coursework, all of the hard classes, regardless of whether they, like it or not. And that's just the reality that traditional form of credibility relies on, having excellent grades in all of your subjects. And so obviously not every person is going to want to go to college and get that credibility. And I totally understand that. And I think that is very valid. And I think anyone who is willing to take the chance and do something really interesting instead of college is doing something awesome. And so, but for the kids that want to do it, they're gonna have to do the traditional coursework. But the thing about apps that I think is really great is that kids can learn that content that even if they don't like it very much, they can learn it all in 2 hours a day. And so it is, at Alpha, all of the students are, to graduate, you have like traditional requirements because, we're a certified school or whatever. And so we have those traditional requirements, but we can do them in 2 hours a day. So, we spend the rest of the day on our masterpieces. So it's kind of the best of both worlds here.
Okay. So for you, it's not about like learning like one or two subjects you don't like. It's more about like how you will learn it and how you can make it fun.
Yeah. And like the apps are super personalized. So you're always working at the content that's right. And so, and it's short. It's like we're supposed to spend 25 minutes a day in each subject, 25 minutes. And that's it compared to the full hour that someone would spend in class and like another hour that they're doing in homework. It's completely different. And it really is kind of hard to compare because I can say, yeah, I don't really like doing physics that much. But I'm doing it for, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to crush this course, and I want to prove that I can do it. I am only doing 25 minutes a day, and still getting those credibility measures. So kind of have to look at it that way as well.
You mentioned a lot like science, mobile app and text, like and even I saw like on your blog and your newsletter like the concept of the Y school inspired by your YEC. I think that you got a lot of inspiration with like entrepreneurship worlds and tech industry, etc. First, regarding like this app that's going on, etc. Do you think like the future of education and learnings will be like 100% digitalized online and with like different type of supports? So not like about this Zoom call on class that is like worst experience ever, but more like with like interactive experiments, app, notification, exercise, even like in metaverse kind of thing.
So the way that Alpha works is that it is completely online. However, we do have guides who are emotional and motivational support for the students. And so because the guide doesn't have to spend their days, making lesson plans or teaching classes, they can spend their time getting to know each kid and ensuring that, they're supporting every single child in the best way that they can. And, they can create life skills workshops and, they can really do what most they really embody what most teachers, like why they became a teacher. It's to help kids, to support kids and help them on their journeys in life and help them become like people, like better people. Like that's exactly what the guides get to do and what a lot of teachers are just not able to do because they're stuck doing traditional academics, teaching classes, making lesson plans, grading papers. And so that is something that is invaluable to the Alpha unit is the guides who spend their entire day getting to know each person, each one of us, and really helping us and supporting us as we, work through our projects and on our academic. And so I think that is something that is extremely valuable and integral to the Alpha community, and that the learning itself is completely online. Like we can learn completely on our own, very self-sufficient. But Alpha wouldn't be like this. My school wouldn't be this school without the support of the guide who are constantly helping every single kid.
We need like human connection and human a bit follow-up or something like this. No? And can you tell me more about like this Y school? Like how did you went with this idea and like did you experimenting it? It would be interesting.
Yeah. So basically Alpha students go through this masterpiece program in high school, which is where they create a 4-year-long project that is as impressive as being an Olympian. And it is extremely hard, extremely ambitious. And, each person is doing something completely different. And for these projects, the process to, help people do their masterpiece has gone through so much change in the last 4 years since I started. And so that has, now that we finally created our step-by-step process to help people along on their journey, we realized that a lot of it sounded very similar to, some of the YC stuff that is that, their philosophies and the stuff that's out there. The only difference is the alpha kids have to spend, their first year, 2 years actually learning how to do the thing. People go to YC already knowing how to code, already knowing, honestly, knowing what their project is, how they're going to do it. But alpha students, they spend that first year, a year and a half, actually learning those skills. And then we take that and we go forth towards the marketing aspect, starting to audience build, to network, to build your product, sell your product. We go through all of those steps in sophomore, junior, senior year. And so it is just, it's such a valuable experience for kids to go through. And, my best friend, she is flattening the cancer. Her goal is to flatten the cancer curve by 2040. And she's doing that by finding the connection between food and epigenetics. And she's releasing a documentary, hopefully within the next month, that, displays her findings about feed oils and ultra-processed foods and their connection to cancer. And, her goal is to make it the most watched documentary on X. And so, very ambitious. She's crushing it. She's doing something really, really interesting and really, really valuable. Another one of my friends.
You all have 17 when you make this Olympia contest, right?
No, we started at the beginning of high school. So most kids are 14 when they start.
So you start at 14, 15, and you finish at 17, 18.
Yes, correct.
Okay, awesome. So your friend did this. Do you have any other idea of projects made by your friends and your project too,
So another one of my friends is building Texas's first world-class bike park. So he actually opened it in October. And so, but to actually make the bike park, he had to get a $350,000 investment to actually, get all of the tools to build the park itself. Not a mountain biking expert, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know all of the intricacies, but all I know, he raised a bunch of money and built a really cool bike park that, the best mountain bikers in, the US travel to go see. So very, very cool. And then for my project, I am transforming the way parents view education by creating a top 10 Substack newsletter that influences millions of moms. And so that's my goal. And the thing about masterpieces is even if you don't reach it, you're still doing pretty cool things. So, through my project, I haven't hit, top 10 Substack, but my Substack itself is pretty cool. I just hit 100 newsletters last week, which is awesome. And, my project itself was interesting enough, impressive enough, and I got into Stanford. And so it really is helpful no matter what.
And so you told me you got accepted on Stanford, right? And do you think your project and all of these things around your research, your experience, be a part of your acceptance?
Yes, 100%. It was definitely the main reason I got accepted. Because I've showed that I have an interest, I have something I want to pursue, and it's something that I'm not terrible at. I can get pretty good at it. I can work hard at something and be successful in it. And I think that's what all of the top colleges are really looking for. And I looked at the people that will be in my class, and one of them was on Forbes 30 under 30. My classmates are going to be such cool people, and that's the main reason I'm really excited to go to college, because I'm going to get to meet all these amazing people who have also already done such cool things. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And so that is something that I find value in the more traditional system of going to college. Getting a degree and then getting a job, just that I get to meet such cool people.
And are you not scared that you're going to come in a very standardized system again, and it's not going to be open you got this high school open? Are you not scared of this?
I'm not scared of it. I'm definitely aware that it's happening. And I'm going to be, I'm going to have a lot more of a traditional experience. for the next 4 years. However, I just believe that the benefits outweigh the risks, and I'm excited to go in all of these, do these interesting courses, these interesting classes that Stanford has, and just be surrounded by people I know are going to end up doing cool things later in life.
And you're going to share your experience on your newsletter, or you're going to stop?
Yeah. So I believe that, my experience in college is something that parents would also find valuable. Sometimes, my opinions about the traditional school system are kind of like, oh, she hasn't actually been doing it for a while. She stopped in 4th grade. Things change in high school. Things change in middle school. But now I'll really be able to, map the differences between traditional school, alternative education, and the benefit. And so I'm really excited about it, and I think it'll be I'm just this is a startup school, so I have an extremely small class, and I've been best friends with the exact same people since I came here, and so I'm really excited to meet new people and really explore that as well.
Of course. And before launching Austin Scholar, your newsletter and all your content, did you experiment other kind of entrepreneurship journey or ideas, etc., or it was your first project?
So in the ideation stage, I had a few different ideas that I explored. Some of them were, primarily more focused on mental health. Some of them were about starting another alpha in another country. They kind of all, there's a lot of ideas, and I really just ended up at Austin Scholar because the two things that I can do best for my masterpiece is I can write all day. I have to spend 4 years of afternoons on this project. I can't get tired of it. And so writing is definitely the thing that I can do every single day. And then what can I provide value in is really, my educational. It's so unique, and I have lots of insight that people can find really useful and valuable in their lives as well. And so that's kind of how it ended up being, writing about education.
Okay, interesting. And do you have any recommendation or feedback based on your own experience on how to find your own thing, how to find what could be the thing you can have a good learning curve, you can be the better, you can have some specific knowledge, extra?
Yeah, of course. So I think one of an important thing that I add is you really have to love it. If you are doing a project that you're just dragging your feet to do, it's going to be miserable. You're going to quit. You're not going to put your heart, your effort into. And so you have to find some part of your project that you love to do, and then that you're really passionate and you get fired up. And so, that is really how I came to my topic. But it's a completely different journey for everyone. For my epigenetics best friend, she watched one of the documentaries about food and sugar on Netflix and was like, oh, this is really interesting, and kept doing research because she just genuinely found it interesting, and that's how her project started. The mountain biker, he started mountain biking during COVID because he had nothing else to do, and he was just bored and wanted something fun to do, and so he started mountain biking, and then it turned into his old project. And so everyone's journey is really different. A lot of it is really serendipitous, and it'll just come together. But every kid ends up doing what they're supposed to be doing.
But for example, I've read a lot of writings about serendipity, and for example, some people say you have to force yourself to meet new people. Traveling is also something that can make you discover new culture, new things, trying things and acting, not thinking too much, because if you think of doing it and you don't do it at some point, you took the decision to not doing it, and it's the worst decision, at some point. You don't have to do everything, but you don't have to wait too much to do things at some point when it's more experience, And so do you think for example, how you grew and you discovered this a passion about writings and about education is about maybe talking with your guides on the school, or what for you worked?
On the writing side, my friends and I were writing short stories, those stories that, all 6th graders write about how they suddenly get magic powers, and
okay. And not everybody made this,
It's not everybody, but or they're suddenly like a celebrity overnight, or they were discovered, like all of those ridiculous stories that are so fun. My friends and I wrote those. I really enjoyed writing them, and I also really liked reading, and so I was able to improve my writing because of how much I read. And so I was pretty decent at writing. And then by the time high school came around, and I really enjoyed it, and it was just something that I would do in my free time voluntarily. And so that's kind of definitely the what are you doing in your free time that you can really
Definitely.
get to.
And I really wanted to pursue a bit more because I firmly believe that everyone have some kind of superpower, some kind of specific knowledge or obsession or secret obsession. And sometimes you don't even think about it, like you writing story when you were young. I never write story when I was young, So it was like here during your childhood, and it participates at where you are today. And I firmly believe that everyone, if he look at deeply about his story, his passion, or if he don't have he has to experiment more and to live more things to create this kind of thing. But everyone can have some things that they can leverage to find a thing that they will really like. Because most of the people right now who I see on Twitter and who want to make startup, for example, they tend to choose trendy stuff, AI, crypto, robotic in future, etc. And at some point, you have to be care of this. You have to not choose something because it's trendy, it's popular, and there's opportunity, but you have to choose something that will fit you, will make you be the number one, or at least be the best you can be on this, because you will be genuinely interested of being it, not because of money, not because of power, not because of anything else, And so I think everyone can have some kind of leverage.
Completely. I also, the topics don't have to be intellectual or like my epigenetics friend. He's kind of an outlier. Not a ton of people are actually doing science projects. She's so funny though. You mention anything science, 30-minute rant. And so she clearly loves it, but not everyone's doing topics like that. My sister, for example, something that she has just been really good at is just giving advice to all of her friends. And she's a huge romance novel reader and rom-com watcher, and she just thinks a lot about romance and dating and things like that, like a lot of teen girls. But she has a little bit more expertise than some people do. And so her masterpiece started out with a TikTok account where she is giving advice to teenagers, dating advice to teenagers. And it kind of shifted and transformed. And now she has a chatbot that people pay for her dating advice. And she's now working to, turn it into an app, to actually help more kids with dating and connecting and just learning how to talk to people. And so they're not all intellectual talk. I have to say it started as a TikTok account about teen dating. So it really is about what are your interests and what can you do, and then make that project Olympic level. Make your interests impressive. Every single person has something they're obsessed with, and it's that obsession that you can turn into your big project.
Do you think everyone want to do something Olympic with their project? Do you think everyone have this deep ambition in them?
Honestly, not everyone's going to want to do the FX program. That's just not everyone's going to want to make a masterpiece. Not everyone's going to want to spend 4 years working really, really hard to do something Olympic level. That's kind of how it is, and it's fine. It's not like we're all just working towards different things. And for the kids that want to try an ambitious project, at least, then this is a great place to start. For people who want to experiment or just try something new, it's a great place to start.
You mentioned a lot the benefits and the good things about having a passion project, have external things outside of the classes, etc. And one of the question you want to answer in your newsletter, I think it's why. Can you maybe answer to this question, why having like passionate project besides school, etc., is something that can add value for parents, for kids, for people, for society?
I guess there are a ton of different reasons, but to start, it's absolutely invaluable experience. In high school, there aren't a ton of consequences for trying something and failing. And so there is not a better time to experiment, try something new, and shoot for the moon. Like, not a better time ever. And so it is, if you want your kid to have that experience and really take advantage of their time as a high schooler, when they have all of this capability and they're capable of doing these great things, but they still have all the guardrails of parental support, all of their classmates, teachers, like they have that support system and they have that capability. And so those two things combined the biggest thing is there's not really any downside to at least trying something really cool. And so that's one of them. The second, they're going to learn incredible skills. Every alpha kid can send a cold email. Every single one of us can send a cold email to anyone we admire. My I don't know if you know Sahil Bloom on Twitter, but he's someone I followed. I cold DM'd him for months, and before he finally responded, and we got to meet up, and he's going to tell me some more stuff about Stanford and everything like that. So that's definitely something I would never in my life have done if it weren't for this project. Public speaking skills, non-academic writing stuff that every alpha kid does. Audience, meet people, and really how to build a product, how to manage a team, how to use Fiverr and Upwork and things like that to do things that, you maybe can't do yet. How to build a website, use AI tools. The list goes on and on and on. And it is just an experience that will help your kid learn things that they wouldn't have been able to anywhere else. And I guess the final reason, I have a few more listed in my newsletter, but the final reason that I think is, convincing is just that they can. High schoolers have the capability to do these impressive things, and they can. So why not, let them spend the time working to actually, do this masterpiece project and, try something really cool. And, if anyone, wants to know where to start with, helping their high schooler do a project, my newsletter has some pretty good insights on where to start. So
we will put your link.
your link. You can definitely check that out if it seems interesting to you. But really, just give your high schooler the chance. Give your high schooler the chance to really show that all the things that they're capable of, and not only will you be very impressed, but they'll be able to really do something really cool and exciting with their life, and something that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise.
Awesome. Completely agree, and that was like very, very true, very, very good. Austin, it was a pleasure to get you on this podcast. Thank you, Austin. Ciao.
Thank you so much.